Good morning. You recall yesterday we talked about Habakkuk, and I want to continue that for one more morning. And we talked about the fact that he couldn't believe that God wasn't answering his prayer, and then God shows up and says, I am answering your prayer, but I'm going to do it in a way that you didn't expect. I'm going to raise up the Chaldeans, the Babylonians, and they're going to chastise my people. You want your people, the people of Israel, to turn back to God. He says, well, it's not going to happen the way you thought. It'll happen the way I plan. And so in response to that, Habakkuk says, I will stand my watch and set myself on the rampart and watch to see what he will say to me. All right. I will stand my watch and set myself on the rampart. In other words, I'll put myself in the battle. What battle? The battle of prayer. I will stand my watch and I will see what God will say to me. In an active position of warfare, because you are always competing, fighting principalities and powers when you're praying, because the devil doesn't want you to get anything. So you're persisting in prayer. And you're waiting on God to do something and to tell you something and to show you something. Could it ever be any more important than it is right now? We're about to have an election, right? That could change the course of the United States, maybe forever. We're talking about two different platforms. I'm not saying that one's biblical, but I am saying that one is unbiblical. We talk about sanctity of life. We talk about the sanctity of marriage and the way God designed marriage to be and all these things. It's not hard to figure out real quickly which side God would stand on. Now you said, oh, immediately, red flags go up, this guy tweets too much and all this kind of thing. And immediately you go to all these things. And let me just tell you something. When you go to the polls, I want to ask you to do something. And I don't say anything about this normally, but you pray. You pray. I'm not telling you who to vote for, but I am telling you it's important. It's important for our country. It's important for your family's future to decide what way of government we're going to have, because there's far more at stake here than just an election. We're talking about changing government. We're talking about major changes, from capitalism to moving into Marxism, from moving into a socialism, from moving into a left-wing liberalism that in all history has destroyed its countries that it's taken over, destroyed their way of life, destroyed freedom. Now, our country is not perfect, nor is our present leadership perfect, and no leadership will ever be perfect. But how do you measure that? You measure that against the Word of God. And I have to say, God, which one measures up more so with the Word of God as opposed to which one does not? Not concentrating on the small things, but concentrating on the big things. See, the devil, that's his plan. That's what a magician does. He fakes you out and gets your attention over here, but he actually does his trickery over here. The trickery is to get us to ignore what's really at stake. What's really at stake is our freedom. And I'm asking you to stand your watch in prayer. I'm not telling you who to vote for. I'm asking you to stand your watch in prayer and say, God, your will be done. What did Jesus say? Not my will, but thine be done. You pray that. You get God's guidance, and you vote. What is God's will here? And I don't think it's hard to determine that when it comes to the issues that are before us, when we're talking about what's at stake. And so I ask you to stand your watch in prayer. And like Habakkuk, things were by means not perfect. But God says to him, I want you to pray, and then I want you to write it, that he may run who reads it. So in other words, there's a future after you, Habakkuk. Think about the future of your children and your grandchildren. God bless you. Have a great day.